Hi Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your March 16th to the 31st, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading and clear the energy space, once again, a reminder not to be scammed by anybody in the comment box pretending to be me offering you a reading. This person is not me. They are a scammer. Do not be scammed. With that said, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. All right. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Capricorn, March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. And spirit guides, angels. Ooh. Okay, let's see how far this takes us. Fantastic. And let's see your chakra energy for this time. Capricorn, March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. Fantastic, these two. And now let's look at the people we need to be mindful of during this time. Who are the people that Capricorn needs to be mindful of? March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. Who are the people that Capricorn needs to be mindful of? March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic, these two. All right. So let's actually put these over to the side, right over here. There we go. And let's see the chakra energy. We have visualization, which is the third eye chakra. We're going to see how these correlate to the tarot. And then we have communication, which is the throat chakra. All right. Now the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. And I want to apologize for my voice and stuffiness. I am getting over having a cold. So let's see here. The Ace of Swords is coming through. The Three of Cups. The Page of Pentacles, which is, of course, you coming through as a student. You have the Empress, which is absolutely gorgeous. the Seven of Pentacles, the King of Cups, the Two of Cups, and Temperance, which is Sagittarius energy, November 22nd to December 21st. If you're born on the cusp with Sagittarius, this part of your personality is going to come out a lot. But also just the sense of things being fair and balanced is going to be really important, harmonious and just secure. That's kind of like this mama bear energy right here. We want that during this time. It's like this sense of security and stability. And for Capricorn, period, for you guys, this is just something that is intrinsically desired. You know, that stability, that security, that bounty. We have Justice, which is definitely reiterating that. Now we have Libra energy here, September 23rd to October 22nd is the time frame. The Eight of Cups, the Three of Wands, and the Eight of Wands. Okay, so let's look at the energy we need to be mindful of during this time. We have Gemini, and we have Libra. So when we're talking about the energy, it doesn't mean that we have to be mindful of all Geminis or all Libras. What it does mean is that these character traits, okay, which can be embodied by anybody, we're going to have to be mindful of because we're going to be susceptible to their manipulation. So we start off here with the Lovers. Now, this can mean that also we can be coerced, not coerced, yeah, but infatuation can take a front seat to everything else. It kind of can blind us to things. So that is going to be something that we need to be mindful of. It's kind of like, don't let, just because we really like somebody, or not even romantically, we really just kind of admire somebody, don't let them get into our heads, like, you know, think for us type of thing. This is when we need to step back and say, okay, and very much embody the Gemini sentiment and the Buddhist sentiment or the Taoist sentiment of this and that is true. There are multiple different ways of looking at the same thing. And just because we see things one way, one time, doesn't mean that we might not see things a different way, a different time. So here, when we are looking at this energy of the Lovers, we're looking at what it is that needs to be true for us. So that doesn't mean that we dictate what truth is. It means that at that moment, we need to take away what is important for us to focus on, because we can't focus on everything. This person here will want us to focus on everything, will want us, or to immediately agree with them without having all the facts, without having all the information. This can be used in a sense of control. It's kind of like, either you agree with me, or I'm going to be mad at you, or you won't get the promotion that you want, or, you know, this is a limited time deal. Come on, hurry up, hurry up. That energy, we're just going to have to be very mindful of. That energy of hurry up, side with me, without having all the facts. It's going to be too much. So just do be mindful of that. And then we have Justice right here, which of course is Libra energy. We have positive Libra energy right there, crowding our public arena. But this can also mean that in the public arena, there is a sense of justice that needs to be looked at. There is a sense of balancing things, seeing things more, you know, openly and honestly, and not just things having to be black or white, you know, white page, black print, everything spelt out so clearly. So this is going to be a person that either thrives off of that, like everything has to be ordered, there can be no chaos in their life whatsoever, and you're going to find, Capricorn, that even though you're drawn to that orderliness, okay, it's going to be too much. You need the creative outlet during this time. And what we see here is this need to create, to understand, and to open up different points of view, different ways of looking at things. So that's going to be very important, because we're visualizing a lot of what we want. And I know with visualization, sometimes we can roll our eyes and say it just doesn't work. But it does. Because it's not that I'm going to envision, you know, having this beautiful house and everything being hunky-dory in my life, right? And not having to do anything for it. That goes against what we chart, what's kind of like ingrained in us. But what we're doing here is, when we visualize, we start to make the pathways in our minds that say, yes, I can do this. Yes, I can move forward this way. Yes, I can, you know, have these goals and go after it. And so with visualization, we are using the fact that our mind does not know the difference between make-believe and reality, which is awesome. It is something that's really cool to know, but it's also terrifying. So here, when we're visualizing, we're looking at things very openly and honestly for ourselves. We're saying, do I want to go down this path? Or do I want to go down that path? Do I want this way to move forward? Or do I want that way? So we're going to be working through a lot of things during this time And that's why we can't get pulled into other people's trauma drama. It's not going to be okay. So here at visualization, we're opening up the pathways to our mind, and we're really looking at the way that we want to move forward. And the communication here, what Spirit is showing me is that Spirit is communicating with you tremendously during this time, and it's mind to mind. Now, it can be that we have these communications with other people. We're communicating on a higher level with others. And that's important because we're going to be taking away a lot more from conversations than that person intended us to. So there's going to be a way of really being connected. But this is also because Spirit is guiding us during this time. There is a sense of greater understanding, of greater truth, of greater desires to move forward, of greater insights. And so as we have those greater insights coming in, they power our voice. They power the way that we're listening and the way that we're seeing situations. And it brings us to the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is all about the mind. The swords are all about the mind. And here we're really looking at what it is that we greatly desire. We're looking at what it is that we greatly want. And there's a gift coming from divinity that says, here is an answer. Here's a key. Figure out where the lock is, which at times does not seem that helpful. But it truly is helpful because it's like, here is a piece of knowledge that is invaluable. Here is an understanding that is tremendous. See how it fits within your life. See where this puzzle piece goes. See how we gain this understanding. And then that starts to open up the mind. It starts to also open up ourselves. This is, again, a gift from God, Source, Spirit, however we see the divine, the universe. And as we look at it, it starts to have a multifaceted way of being used and utilized within our lives. So there's something that's coming in that's having us look at things quite differently. And it's having us look at things differently in the realm of patience with what we're growing towards, with what we want, what we're working towards, and what is just within our lives, what it is that we need for that solid foundation to start coming forward. And as we have this insight guide us, and as we have this gift, it's also about what we've been working towards. Because remember, swords, they're the only weapon within the tarot, and they are also something that took tremendous skill and was only used by nobility. So it's going to elevate you in one way or another. And as it elevates, there is the Three of Cups coming forward. As it elevates, whenever I have the Three of Cups, for me, it is the people who should have celebrated you, but just couldn't. And so here, it's like, okay, I'm being elevated. I'm looking at things differently. And it's going to bring up in my mind and in my actions, okay, and in my subconscious, people who said I couldn't do this. People who looked at things and instead of saying, oh, yes, you can. Oh, yes, I'm supporting you. These are the people who should have been supporting us, who should have been on our side, but they just couldn't be. For one reason or another, whether they be, the father, the mother, whether they be siblings or teachers or spouses or, lovers, whomever it was, friends, they couldn't stand by our side. And that's a hard lesson to learn, but it is an important lesson to learn. So here with the Three of Cups, we're looking at that pain and that hurt and that disappointment and how it has colored, how it has, kind of sullied us in one way or another. It scarred us, right? And so as it has scarred us, it has built up coping mechanisms. And what divinity is saying now is that, yes, it's important to understand those coping mechanisms. Yes, it's important to look at things and understand that we have scars and hurts and pains and disappointments. But this hardship has made us stand on our own 2 feet just a bit more, has made us become more focused, more determined, and it leads us to us being the student of what we desire. It's not saying, oh, I have all the answers. It's saying, well, I know the questions. And that's a huge thing, because when we're moving forward towards what we want, towards what we desire in life, to say, I don't know it all. I'm learning, I'm gaining an understanding, I'm discovering. That becomes everything. Right? It is the person who believes that they have all the answers that is truly ignorant. It is the person who is constantly seeking that is much wiser than they believe. And so here, when we are seeking, when we are looking at things more introspectively, when we are seeing how things are connected and what we have to learn a bit more and how we have to get more steady on our feet and also stronger within our knowledge of ourselves. Within this gift of knowledge and finite understanding, it's like, all right, I am tougher, I am stronger, I am I am more than what I imagined. And that's a hard place to be. If you stumble across this channel, you're likely astoundingly empathic. You're seeking spiritual awakening. And this is going to be something that's very hard for us to do. It's very hard for us to assert our power, to say, this is what I want. This is what I'm going after. This is where I need to be. And it's also very easy for us to play second fiddle to others. And it's like, no more. No more. I am being a student of how to be as prosperous as humanly possible. And it brings us to the Empress. It brings us to a number 3, right? The repeat of the number 3, which has divinity connecting with us really quite powerfully. And it has the Empress protecting us. You have the mama bear protecting her baby bear. I mean, mama bears are fierce. If you ever are out somewhere rather rural or just a bit rural, if you see a baby bear, you want to get away from that baby bear, because if the mama comes and she sees you near that bear, she'll take you down. And that's just a fact. She'll be fiercely protective. And that's the energy of the sacred feminine around us right now. Fiercely protective, fiercely, determined for us to claim our throne, to claim our voice, to claim the compassion that needs to be within life, but also the power from that compassion. Everything doesn't have to be the dog-eat-dog world. It gets to be that if you are a good person, there is a way for you to move forward. There is a power. There is a purpose. There is a light to life. And this is claiming a voice that we have lost. Why? Because we didn't know and we were hurt. Because things got overwhelmed. So inwardly, we're kind of changing the stance that we have on a lot of things. We're repositioning ourselves very powerfully, very assuredly, and kind of taking ourselves by surprise, because those negative little thoughts and us seeing ourselves as a student will make us think, well, can I? And the answer is yes, of course you can. Yes, of course you can move forward in this way. Yes, of course you can claim this power, claim this throne, have this purpose of being that doesn't have to be about cutting down everybody else or being outraged and angry. It has to be about love and compassion and understanding. And it's what we are steadily and assuredly building within our hearts. The 7 of Pentacles says, be patient. Be patient because there is more coming within you than you could know. Be patient because, we have X amount of heartbeats, but those heartbeats get to mean something beautiful. So there is the sense of being patient with our lives, not letting life pass us by, which is what we can fear. But knowing that, yes, I am utilizing my gifts. Yes, I am moving forward in my best way possible. Yes, I am, embracing who I am and who I need to be and what it is that I desire. And I'm breaking down barriers every single day. But the 7 of Pentacles isn't that flashy, kind of sexy show that we so like. It is much more, it's much more subtle. And it's much more letting that connection with divinity that we see with the throat chakra coming through, that connection with spirit, that connection with divinity, open up the doors, move us forward in a way that we couldn't have imagined. Excuse me. And it brings us to the King of Cups. Within our heart, we are realizing I can't rule anybody else. I can't make anybody or anything else do what I want them to do. And we've learned that the hard way. We've learned that through the disappointments, through the heartbreaks, through the pains. And that can be coming up now. Now, it can be that a person is contacting us out of the blue. And we're like, my goodness, why are you contacting me? I don't really want to talk to you. It's going to be that type of person who hurt us in the past, who was disingenuous, who, made it about them. And we're looking at life and saying, I can only move forward the way that I need to for me. I cannot be anything else to anyone else. I need to be my ruler. So the King of Cups, he rules his life. He says, I can only drink of this cup. I can only rule my existence. And I can't do it for anybody else. And the King of Cups, he's my favorite king because he is the most honest. He's right. If we rule our emotions, if we say, I take full responsibility for who it is that I am. If I mess up, so be it. Everybody messes up. To err is to be human. I think that is, oh my gosh, such an old saying, and I forget where it's from. But, and if you know, leave it in the comment box. But, it's such an old saying that it has such weight to it. You're going to make mistakes because you're learning, because you're human, because, life happens. So here, there is this sense of growing and developing, but also focusing on the self, not in that egotistical, megalomaniac sort of way, but in that way that says it's important. It's important how I conduct myself. It's important what I do with my life. It's important because it leads us to the Two of Cups. It leads us to a unity. It leads us to a healing. It leads us to the Minor Arcana Lovers card. It leads us to falling in love with our lives in a very real and very powerful way. And that unity brings with it temperance. It brings with it greater understanding. It brings with it this sense of balance. And it's seeing the balance of the day and the night, seeing the balance of the conscious and the subconscious, seeing the balance of what we want and what we desire, and what divinity knows that we are really longing for coming together. And it opens up doors that we hadn't seen. And it brings us to this place of greater understanding, of greater purpose, of greater knowledge of self. And it brings us to justice because we're looking at the evolution of what we want. We're looking at the evolution of what we need. And we're saying, I have to be just to myself, which is being discerning. It's not kind of leaving, you wouldn't leave your front door wide open and say, you know what, anybody who's walking by, just come in. You just wouldn't do it. It's first of all not safe. And, secondly, it's just wrong, right? So here, there is this sense of why do we let ourselves, especially in the public arena, open the door to our emotions, open the door to have a psychological impact on us and say, oh, don't worry, just come in. Just come into my personal space. Just come in to the energy that I need from life. Just come in. It's like, no, stop it. This is being just to ourselves. This is saying, I want this and I don't want this. I need this, but I don't need this. And this is just being more forceful. This is being very honest. And it's almost being a little bit raw, but it's bringing the sweetness back because it's taking the power back. And it's saying, no, I don't get to be pushed around. I don't get to be, treated this way. I have worth. And as we're looking at things, we can see that we perpetuate our scars. And we know that we perpetuate our scars in relationships, right? We'll tend to date the same type of person and have the same types of problems. But we perpetuate the relationships and the wounds in work. We perpetuate them with friends. And this is saying, no, like the buck stops here. I get to have a say in the power that I move forward in. Now, it doesn't mean that we storm out of our jobs, and it doesn't mean that we, drop all our friends, though we could if we want to. It means that we look at things and we say, I have a plan. I'm setting things up. I'm looking for something new. I'm opening up the doors. I'm seeing something different. And I'm believing in me. The justice here is being just to ourselves, especially when we feel like we're drowning, when we feel like we're completely overwhelmed. It's being just to ourselves and putting down these barriers. And it has us with the Eight of Cups. It has us walking away from what we once thought we would love. It has us looking at things, and when we're being discerning to ourselves, when we're embracing our own emotional justice and sweetness and beauty and prosperity, it has us looking at something and saying, it's just not right. It's not right. It's not what I want. It's not what I need. It doesn't fit me anymore. It's kind of like having those, we see the Eight of Cups, like having those really beautiful pair of shoes in your closet. And they're just gorgeous. And you don't want to give them away because you spent a heck of a lot of money on them, but you can't wear them because you can't walk in them. So they're silly to have, but we don't want to let them go. The Eight of Cups is letting it go, is saying, this isn't serving me any purpose. I can't. And by letting it go, we get to embrace ourselves. We get to embrace what we want. It's even letting go of the idea of perfection during this time. Letting go of saying, oh, well, when it's perfect, I will. Because it'll never be perfect. So why are we sabotaging ourselves? In the public arena, it's looking at things and saying, what is it that I need? What is it that I want? And where is it that I need to be? And why am I stuck in this hamster wheel? And it's getting off the the hamster wheel and saying, now it is time to move me forward. Because it brings us to the Three of Wands. It brings us to new horizons. It brings us to new experiences. It brings us to finally being able to see our ships come in. Why? Because we changed our mind. We could have been focused all the time, like this direction. Everybody says, this is how you make it, right? This is how you do it. This is what you should do. And then when we start to listen to ourselves, when we start to listen to what we desire, we see ourselves becoming so much more, striving for the stars, going after what it is that we truly love and truly want and truly need. And it becomes a powerful thing. And it's like, oh. And then the anger can come up because it's like, why the heck did I waste all my time going in the direction that just wasn't right for me? It's because you wouldn't be able, we just wouldn't be able to take in the blessings when they came if we hadn't gone through the hardships, the pains, the disappointments. And it sounds silly, but now you have 3 threes. So divinity is right there with you during this time. Their knowledge, their spiritual, like camaraderie is right there with you. And it's bringing a new horizon. It's bringing a new dawn. It's bringing a new understanding. And it leads us to the 8 of Wands. It leads us to a change coming in. It's like ready or not, here it comes. It's not as earth-shattering as a tower change or as dramatic as a tower change, but it is going to sweep us up. And it's going to say, moving forward, we have to move forward towards this. And the repeat of the number 8 means that we take this time astoundingly seriously, actually too seriously at times. And we can actually talk ourselves out of the blessings, out of the gifts that are coming, because we want to keep things so on the straight and narrow. We don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to, kind of mess things up, that we'll let things slide and think, but I just have to stay here. It's like, no, there is something more coming. And yes, we have to know that divinity has its timing, right? Has its desire for us. But we also have to rule our lives with this force, with this presence. Now, during this time, okay, people are going to use mind games. Why? Because they want to. They see that you're susceptible, okay? Susceptible to it because you're a student, okay? But as a student, as a page, okay, child, you also are protective. You're protected by the sacred feminine during this time, by this healing, powerful, nurturing aspect of divinity, but also this forceful aspect of divinity. So during this time, people will say, okay, you're open to new ideas, you're gathering up information. The Spirit is saying false idols will come your way. So just be very mindful of that. Be very mindful of what is intrinsically right for you. And when people are having you pull away from what is right, okay, and into what they want you to believe. It's very much this energy up here coming through, but they're going to use wounds and hurts to kind of pull you into doubts and despairs. For your heart, it is going to be very hard to be as patient as you start with patience, you end with patience, as you need to be. But it brings a unity to you. It's kind of like looking at the inner self and saying, how are we doing this? Like, what's the game plan? What is it that we want to accomplish in this time? And why is it important? And it starts to shift the attention off of even financial gains or, what everybody else needs from us to what we need for ourselves. And it can be, something really small as I'm going to try and get more sleep at night, so I'm better rested for the day. That can be our goal. And then when we implement that, we start to see more patience coming in because we're not as irritated. We start to see ourselves becoming more assertive within our lives because we're taking back our power, and we're also much more focused because our mind is working better. It could be a little shift like that. It's going to make the biggest difference. And it can also be like, I'm just not caring as much. And I don't mean that, and Spirit doesn't mean that in a way that says, well, I'm not caring. Like, who the heck cares what anybody else thinks? But it means that I'm not taking everything personally. I am setting down a solid foundation for the way that I am moving forward. And I'm becoming in union with not only who I am and where I need to be, but divinity and what divinity wants from me and this greater calling of myself. And it's opening the horizon because we're starting to finally be just, and we're walking away from a rut that we couldn't get out of before. And the change, well, it comes fast after that. It really does. Small little changes during this time. Doesn't have to be anything really big. Nobody would have to be amazed by it, if you told them. But it does wondrous things for us, Capricorn. Okay. So let's see what the spirit animal message is for this time. Capricorn, March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. Capricorn, March 16th to the 31st, 2021, Capricorn. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels. Okay, these two. So we have here the lion spirit. It says, be generous of spirit. Yes, be generous of spirit, not only with everybody else, because that's what we think of generosity with, but also with ourselves. Be generous of the way that we are letting spirit into our lives. And then we have the outer spirit. You are never alone. You aren't. You have the one outer here. You have the other outer here. There's a sense of love. There's a sense of connection. There's a sense of power that is around you. And knowing that we are never alone. We are always connected. That becomes a little bit of a secret weapon. It's like there is this greater knowledge to me. There is this greater focus, this greater power. And it's redefining my world. Our subconscious chakra message is angels and masters, angels and divinity. This is the soul star chakra located 6 inches above the crown. This is a sense of being protected, just as the mama bear is around us during this time. We are severely protected as we walk forward. Our angels walk with their wings around us, and that is an absolutely beautiful thing. Absolutely beautiful. Utilize this. Utilize this, because it's not going to be often that spirit shows that we are as protected as we are now. Our subconscious person message is the Princess of Cups. Okay? This is being mindful of our hearts, all right? But this is also knowing that we can be kind of naive at times and easily swayed. So we need to stay true to ourselves and kind of just come back and say, does this resonate with my goals? Does this resonate with me? Does this bring me to where I truly want to be? If the answer is no, step away. If the answer is yes, keep on going. But we're going to have to keep on checking in during this time, because there's somebody just nasty coming about who is emotionally, astoundingly manipulative. And it can be most definitely somebody from the past stepping forward, or somebody who, kind of has read us really, really well and just wants to manipulate us as we're moving towards our goals. So do be mindful of this. Then we have the B for spirit. Lay a solid foundation. Lay a solid foundation for where you want to be, for what you are building. This is not, building upon sand. This is making things last. And during this time, that's what we're focusing on. Making things last and having things for a sturdy and profound future. It brings us then to our subconscious tarot message, which is the Ace of Oak. And the Ace of Oak is the Ace of Pentacles, which is a gift that you absolutely take during this time. And that is profound, because the Ace of Pentacles is a gift just for you, Capricorn. And this is a sense of power. This is a sense of coming together. This is a sense of finding justice and greater, understanding. And this is really looking at things and saying, how am I building? How am I building my roots? What is going into my soil? What is it that is fueling me, that is empowering me, that is bringing me so much more and connecting me with this earth? So there's something here where it's like subconsciously we start to see the shift. Now, it's not simply the shift to being money oriented, because as an earth sign energy, that's astoundingly important to us. But it's also that shift of being super grounded, of saying, okay, let me kind of prioritize what's important to me. What is it that I want? Because during this time, we can work through everything, absolutely everything, and say, listen, the bills have to be paid, money has to come in. That's just it. And that's logical, all right? But we don't want to get so focused that we miss the beautiful things. We miss like the sunsets and, you know, the laughter and the joy, because we can during this time. So it's kind of like step back just a little bit and know that there are beautiful gifts that are coming subconsciously that are going to start to shift things. And we have the gift of knowledge coming in. Well, now we have the gift of prosperity. And that's a game changer. It really is. All right, Capricorn, I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we walk forward in the protection of divinity, and as we are that eternal student of knowledge, prosperity, and bounty. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Capricorn.